Tene da tangbo ngadu deli hyujudan tene tatari ke chenamba ke nyamle yapo na tene nyamle na kapso me mombo zam tene kapkap la tene chombandaw na tene yungre de yinaya tari parchi me pata parchir chundinte tatu chuge nyamle tenzo tene pe parchi me patupala tene pe gabujanga tene tahideli hyujudan tene tiji su dojin chungtuma denge yanla tepatamu huji ne sorwatab naruchi.
First of all, good morning to everyone. And also, you all have come here to practice and have been practicing very well. And in coming here to practice, a lot of people have gotten together to practice. And sometimes when that happens, people start passing colds back and forth to each other. And there are all sorts of problems that can arise. And so, but that hasn't happened this time. There haven't been any problems. And so you've come here without any difficulties, and you've been studying and practicing very well, and Rinpoche is very happy about that. So thank you very much. And also good fortune, Tashi Delek to you. And also, we are now going to chant the short Vajradhara lineage prayer. And as we chant it, please chant it with faith and devotion.
Tene tatano che Jonang te pa konlo ma long je den ru chi se song song la tene ti che Jonang te pa ti che long de den ge na tene te ya chitang che Jonang te pa konlo ma de be chenap chenpo ta ba tene zi nang ge yo la tene chenap chenpo la zi gu be jun sen de Kandi jiri siya na tang hama ke kapsu tini jagarla sanji ke tempa tar tini ti kapsu la pal nalindra i zula kuna pendrita ngajayi apa tenzu ke tini nima jik la pendrita ngajapo ti ke tini jambi yung ke sonde re zom 점주게 되네 다직 보지 나래라 되네 대 니마제라 벤다 자게 점비 용거 때바제 점비 값소 되네 디체니마 강가 도롱디 되네 강글로 두두니 던더싱kin티 손데 대 차상 벤다 자게 점겨바디 찍바리도요래라 되네 디처나 되네 정용 때바 공로마데 점비 용거 신라리 shum한다 보제라 지네 되네 작은 법이요도 배 공진지 좀 니깔라 되네 대 갈침보 나와래라 되네 디처나 되네 갑갑라 나란서 다제 내가 투성게 라 드리페 되네 몽바살와 대견도 내가 투성지 히라라 드바 되네 타투 강중게 히라 질라메체 와라서 발라 바르두제 마리페 드바제질라다 파반잠발이온데 체바르탄 파바이 베처나 되네 디 손데 데 갑갑라서나 펜토 쳔보 요아래라 된 단다딜롱 된다게.
Yesterday evening, Rinpoche was asked to give the lung or reading transmission for the praises of Manjushri, the short praises of Manjushri that begins in English, the one whose intelligence is who's unclouded by the two stains, and so forth. And so this Rinpoche will begin the Dharma session today by giving this reading transmission, and this is in your chant books. The text for it is in your chant books. I'm not sure which page it's on. This is considered to be an extremely important prayer to Manjushri, and a very important prayer to Manjushri. We repeat it often in the morning or in the beginning of a session. And it is considered to have especially great blessings because in the noble land of India, after the Buddha Dharma had spread, there was the great university of Nalanda. And so at this great university of Nalanda, at one time there were 500 panditas, or 500 great scholars. And these 500 scholars one day decided that they would all they would each write their own praise to Manjushri. And so they all made the preparations to write their praise, and they went back, and then that next morning they all got together in order to see what their praises were, whose praise was what. And it turned out that all of their praises were exactly the same. And so they all wrote this exact same prayer. And so because of that, it is considered that this is the prayer that has the most blessings of the Lord Manjushri. And so it is considered a very important and very strong, powerful prayer for that reason. It is considered powerful because sometimes we have some sort of obscurations or stains that prevent us from really engaging in study and meditation. And so we have obscurations that prevent us from listening and contemplating. And so when we have, and they prevent us from developing the full knowing or prajna, the full knowing born of listening and the full knowing born of contemplation. And if we don't have those, then we cannot attain or generate the full knowing born of meditation. And so in order to cut those stains, the prayer that is considered to have the most power and the most blessings in order to cut those stains is this prayer to Manjushri. So now Rinpoche will recite the reading transition for it.
Papa Jambali Yongje Deba Gongloma Lama Don Gambo Jason Jambe Yongla Jan Zalo Gongalo Dunyan Tranamda Rapsalwe Jini Tankin Sister Jetu Karalibum Zain Gonda Zebezara Mari Mandon Dunga Jizerve Rosugan Lapo Jitarzi and Lotu Yon de sound to the Jedun Munion on Lady Jordan Ronze Mari Mese Dungal Jini Jenzera Danam, then the Dodgins are Jintarzan and then Ludo Jazitu. Judon Juni Gente, Dolumens and Jambe on Lande on Rabatana de Zedin Jijinchera Vesrige Dolu de Mumbarazan Kadan Jugun Ludobai, Ludu Bobe no Azado so. Tini, ta teji siyang, tanda 당고 Thrangu Rinpoche songna tanda Heart Sutra delvati longje dana tinde songla tini te tarinje dan yana kanga ke lobjongji tinde ji de longje topsongna pe yapo yosarela tini te ya Heart Sutra la jechun Taranatha ke delva la Herning Kandil Sinking Jay, Siki Jay, Tene Herning Sindel Sinking Jay, Dudu Jay, Tene Titaindo, Tene Tanda, Herning Derwang, Mimi Lehi Sinking Jay, Rehi Jeba Jay, the Sum, Yorala, Tene Tina Ne, Tanda, Herning. Tanda kandil te tang teni xening ge jelwa ngimi lehi sengkin tini ge long te ngarang la yo mare la junsi mori buti jurnar desi man ro du ge
Yesterday evening, Tsokni Rinpoche said to Thrangu Rinpoche that he thought it might be a good idea if he gave the lung or reading transition for the commentary written by the Venerable Taranatha. And Rinpoche, when he thought about this, thought it was a good idea because it would help you in your study, in your practice, in your understanding. It would help you develop your study and practice of this. And so the Venerable Taranatha actually wrote 3 different commentaries on the Heart Sutra. The first of these is what is called a word commentary, and what it presents is sort of a general presentation of the Heart Sutra. That is the first commentary. The second of these is what's called a textual commentary on the Heart Sutra. This is the one that you have translated into English. And then the third of these is a commentary called the previously unexplained good explanation for an all too literal English title. Of these 3 commentaries, the first one and the third one, the Tambode Kandel. So Rinpoche was just clarifying that the first is the word commentary, the second is the textual commentary, and the third is the previously unexplained good explanation. And so of these, the first and the last are a little bit longer, and especially the last one, the previously unexplained good explanation, is quite extensive. But the middle one, the textual commentary, is rather short. Now, in giving the reading transition for these, actually Rinpoche does not have the reading transmission for either the word commentary or the previously unexplained good explanation.
Tene tatela tanda chitang tangma jechun Taranatha hyal yup kapla tene ta chetnam begin chengo ndo tene pe tene zong zangba desi punsu namjal ke jinda sene tene ta tin lang sinking ti zu la kong ja chenpo tene jonong ke tempa de hira tar re de yin ya chi so de ji ta tin punsu lang sinking de ya tene ro ga den bi chu la njor tene jonong ke tempa de nya thabo da bu chung wa la tene jinsin teacher na jono je sing ke kambom ke chape ta tenzo pe kambo da bu chung wa la tene de kambo da bu chung du tene pe kambo chung wa la tene chi so jagara la tene patin nang kap su yang tene tanda lada ke jalsa lada jabu podang to podang sengiti nala jono je Taranatha de kambam je yorela tepe hyune delela patrin hyupare te inaya ti to podang ga tini jono je Taranatha ga kambam te chang yo marela tini tinang de shenhin reba tenzu yo marela tini teacher na te shope te kambo song de ngaranga londa botende jeba te kandil te ta tini ngemi lehi te ni de long yo marela tini tsindil te nguma tini ngarang gamba ne shope je yeba je tini thale jang ko kum de long je hyonyo kong ke jang Control Rinpoche continue pa din chin siwe zir ka konde ne hyuba yin banda la teni te tarin tanda tsindil te long je yin dangi.
So, as many of you know, may already know from the history of the Tibet, there was at one time the teachings of the Jonang School were very widespread in Tibet. At this time, they had a large monastery called Tukten Punsot Ling. And then later, this monastery, and so at that time when they had this large monastery in central Tibet, then the teachings of the Jonang School spread quite widely throughout Tibet. Later, that monastery was taken over and became the Ganden Monastery. And so then after that, the texts, the Jonangpa school and all of the texts of the Jonangpa school became really quite scarce and very rare in Tibet. And so all of the different volumes of text and the writings of the Venerable Taranatha became extremely rare in Tibet, rare and hard to find. And so these texts were rare and hard to find. Now later, later these texts texts of Taranatha, the complete works of Taranatha, were printed in Ladakh at a printery called the Tut printery, and they made that edition. However, they did not have access to all of Taranatha's writings at that time, and so it was incomplete. And later they had that also reprinted in Delhi. But that edition of Taranatha's complete works actually did not include all of Taranatha's complete writings. And so for that reason, the texts of Taranatha were very rare, and that is why Rinpoche does not have the reading transmission for either the first longer commentary, the word commentary, nor for the third commentary, the previously unexplained good explanation. However, in his monastery in Tibet, there were some copies of the textual commentary, the one that you have. And so there were copies of this textual commentary there, and Rinpoche received the reading transmission of it from Tralik Kyabgun Rinpoche. And Tralik Kyabgun Rinpoche had received this reading transmission from Jamyang Khyentse Wesa. Okay, so he received it from the second incarnation of Jamgun Kontrul, Palden Khyentse Wesa.
Tene tatanda tinsang kapso tene tana kong mi tene zomtang la tene jonong lama jege jono jesing sumbom te chasam himperten patrina ne tene tanda delva kandil tan delva jepa kanga jarju yepege kokap chumare la tene te tsai hintu salpo pe ten sapo jepartam papa tende yuare la tene ngarange tsawa tanda hi peka sala tsingdil de la ye ya ne ndirhi tenzo kapka la tene ngemi lehi singitino ne khaka ne tene ngarange shogyore.
Now in Kham, there, in the eastern part of Tibet called Kham, in lower Kham, there is a Jonang Lama who has managed to assemble actually all of the writings of the Venerable Taranatha and put them out. And so because he has done this, Rinpoche has been able to get a copy of the complete works of Taranatha, including not just the textual commentary, but also the word commentary and the previously unexplained good explanation. And so in giving the teaching this time, Rinpoche has been teaching the root text from the basis of the textual commentary that you all have. And then he has been filling it in at some areas from the extensive explanation, the previously unexplained explanation. These three commentaries are all excellent commentaries. They are very clear. The meaning is very clear. The words are very clear. And they are very beneficial and helpful commentaries and the most excellent commentaries.
Tene tatanda tsindir dupati long dengiana. Tene yapo kumun number tabu gone senaruchi.
Now Rinpoche will recite the reading transmission for the short textual commentary. And so please listen to it carefully with a good, pure motivation.
Shenhinge tsindir yoso namon badaya hiraja baruda zimbe nimbundo tuzam ba hiraja baruda zimba yeza Montpala anjo jong don zo ne hizadon jene lunimi hidiki nimbo de yanando de herzen de rongi to rejeni yo me benzeni don nambadam je benzeni don denje zo zumbo de de ze yendo nyung zer nimbo wo je dara de ke zumi ji bala zo ba do don ma je bala zo ba nyo mala zo be njo me don zo don bo ye bala zo be nambadam je ba on don la den zum de lin lo don Tente lava ba ye rong brother bo don vola lingi zai don do de jun jun goni zo don volan de ke zo de ne ja bu ga jano ze za ga bumber tempa jam den de ga ja to bang goro ge long de ni de da jam ba ge den je zo jem bo don hin ka na zo ne de be zo je zam ba be ge de ja jem bo don da je don ni je tap ti ba ni je do yo ge goro zo dam je jun de ne de Je membe du je na ju ke jin bu se de ke manor de babo chana do je da ke tu su ke ne du nge ba kurzo bon bor ga be de be zon de ngi ji jong conserve de ba je be ro ni bon do de ju ju go ne de se jom de su su do bor ga be samo de ne ro ke ra ja baru do sam ba wo de sam do do be i ge na no de ngu su do de yan la i ge de no de be nyang yan Dingen zain de jam den de dingen zain de la do do yo ba yin jong de ran du je dur ja nam je no la samo no dingen zain de la za du nyam briga patar no ngo yo jam den de nyam bra ga ma da ba de ze song ju zan ba jim ba ba jin re zong su ji ge ra ja ba ru da zam ba sam nga sam da do gen je be ge dingen zan do je zan de nyam ga nam bara da we je be ye ge la ne ba do de re ge zan ngu su je be ja bum bang Rongyin je ngwe ma zhebe dongpa ye ye je nambar da yin ngwe pumpa ngwa rongyin je dongpa de nye ke zin zang le lo so de shir sin sa mo na rongga ngwe ma dongpa ra zhebe zaran da nige dong ma sarwara denpe zay dongpa wo jin re zay shir sin la sara do nyambara ya be sul de ma da pa de ne de Tene ki nga zen zom jorwa de ni ba de na wa ba la tni je gon de na wa ba don tin je gon te sam salwa wo dong bo la tri ba don lin de bo dong bo na de ne son je de so de ga re bo la so ba ni de no je ron to je ju sam den de wa ra yo mi ki me je son je chin je la ben to le je don de ba ga re be son je sam ba jim ba ba je de ze on je de ki je ne so je ne he na ri je bo je ba won ri je bo be me gon yin yo rong de gong so yo rong wa la la da zhong ju sen ji hira je baru de zamba samanda la du zong gong zong je go ne je ba de nyam ni je baran de be gam sul je dara la pra cha gu he ba wo ni ba le la her chen la je zurong dor de her chen je ngo wo je bara he de do ba lam je be Lam de do ben de bo ke pen do je be zung a de den de zul de ke jen la lo bro dong bo wo dong bo ne de ge zo de ge bo de ge jem de len do zung zung ba ba jem ba jen ze on ju ge kha ri bo lan de ge je ne zo ji gi je je na ri bo ko la ki ra je ba sam je ba je ba de ba de sur je dra nam bra de chen do da gen gam bra ja wo andar je ba ye ba ne je je le zo sa ve ze yin la je ba ne je zo yin se be ze yin be je za ke je de la je lu je da ba ye ba de nyong so nu ke ze gong la nyong so len be da gong ge zo je dra nyong le je ba ran de ba ke ba wo je be ngo wo ne ju je jo do ba ru lo zo ru la zo ba wo je dra nam bra da wa za ke 풍봉 아버데 다동 인용 강동 진제 라소 바이 외고니 종 농도제 주대다 동 롱예 나롱고 마드베 서제 마노와 용다베네 누라 유제 공베 히라지 네로도 지선 담브라다게 고모 니바 케진정 오제 브르게 발라 롱게 데는 보동 롱게 젠공베 조 동보나 조 동바오 소데데니 도몬다 jarna 다다 지바수제 제원 Zubunda no eni enda na zubun ye ba mai de zu de na ru no za ma do ru do be zero de na zu je rong do ne me je mai be dong ba wo zu je kir na dong be ju ni ne ba de ni dong ba ni ngu de de na de je ye ba dong im dong im be dong ni do ne zo la ye be ju ni dong ba ni la ji ba zu je wo na la zubun no yon to no za ma dong me do zo che gir ne de le gin do ju do ni lo zo ne ba ma yin de zu no jar ve ne de ni chu yin be jar do che ge zu bo ni ma nyo wa do zu bo ge ju chu ni la ta de do ro zo zu be ja men be re je zo chu ni ri wa de yu re yin be jar zo do do wa da wa da de ben ze ni men ze be jar ro chu yin dong ba ni de Chikirasone de la Gendo Suya Bamayin de Juni, Nijun Subome, Becharadon, Junsen, Amanam Je, Cherobe Nantini, Jinja, Tongla de Nakombo, Carbon Chirwa Jindom, Mendon, Sirbon Chirwa Jindom, Tongoran Joron, Toyon, Sirbon Chirwa Jindom, Trunoso. Mato de ne me la carbone ye be na con la serboro no jervo don carboni ye ta de be sur de la zone serbo don de ne ye ma ye don don ne je don serbo de o je don serbo de le gen don me don le gen do je don ser trupa ma ino ye je ba da ba ye la de la gen do je ron don na wa no je dal na don ba la den dum je bara de be su bon den dum dem Tarvaran Jurala, Dombani, Zumai, Zule, Yambayomai, Jija, Barati, Jesu, Dombo, Dombani, Zuzu, Hibanda, Marungo, de Taranand, Nekido, Majimbo, Salvartin, Betsy, Nibo, and the Taranchi, Panando, the Uti, Gazi, Salvartin, Bayan Labid, Tarakina, Duzigona, de Juni, the Dombezo, going back in the Domani, Tomba ni je ye gong yin ba de ju ni je zo zo no ye den be de ni yin tan ba ye ba zong do ko dong be ye ye dan dong je zo ma yin ba yong se dan dong je zo dong ba dong be ye ma yin ba yong se nyang be do ba ga be ze zu le jong so so de la ga ndr dong ba ke ba dong jo ma yin de ni dong ge ye ke zo den dong be zo bo na zo bo ma yin me ju yin nong ba dong je Nonga Zubunga number Dendamba de Juni Jezubunga, Dendam Jezubun Gizawa de Woman on Rain Date, taking those Rovadon to get on the Zedon number Kiban on Dombo, Dombani Survani, number Kibe Paro, Survan, number Kibe Parale, Dombani Kimai, Dombale, Le, John Survani, number Kibe Pardagimai, no Kijaro Data Dombani. Kebe Judovane, Titavina Judon Jotombani, Keba de Jigato Juji, Namatoba Conjera Juni, Chumi de Zerege, Jesin Jeson Sinime by Kiban, Kunzo Naronga, Dombajara de Don de Sinime de Pumba Dembarame, Pumba Sinijan Demba. Meba Yeno de Tambrana Rongo, John de Nojan Rongi Jamato de Sensa, some Luga Nilu la me beso dikin da jiwa me becharan gopa me jiba de jimi dongo me de ni yong ama donda o kunzo landa nungo zonda jingwa jinsi Sini ye jong tu dongo yin je kunzo ni ni me na de la je jo dongo je me bechara jimi nga me Jingo me la den dan rong ngo dong bai jun de la jingo ni sa ma de be ma ji ge ma ga ba o de da na dong ban du ji ji dong be den yin bien du ji dong sin ni dong ji wa dong ga ba nam gen da zam yin be me bara de la ju ni ne gen da ji dong be den no du ji za gen da za sa ra ma rong nyo na du ji na gen da yin be ma ja ju Duji tam je la kunda jen se ni ju pe cha de duji tam ji jong do ro do na yul dong yu jin yi su se do yu jin je den yul zong wa la yu jin ni lo zo zo do ba da ra yu jin ni lo zo zo do ba da ra no wa de na dong kunda yin be ke ba dong je kunda de lan ju ba dong ke ba de lo zo yu lo zo da sa da ye ba ra no yo kunda yin jen de yin je su su yu dong me zong bo 당진 주바이 노데달레게 다예 제응 보동 미 담제나 근도인 베메 마거데 대저런 두지 당진나 근도제 세니 주바이 노데나 용 근도제 세니 제예 근도종 용 근세니 제노 용릉 대다라마이나 용도도 바와 용 대다동다와 다네 주라 주보라사데 드마는 고르바데 레니종 동아라 나조 종아라노 드만 고르바용 롱가고 메라 드마메 Tomato Tarwane, Yang de Bade, Lomgombe, Deba Bonde, Zonju, Toba, in a Lomgombe, Dembaramela, Debarongi, Mebe, Debaton, Tavarano, Lo, Jarazolo, Tomling, Medo, Yon, Tobesonji, Dembra, Tito, Toparaga, Toparano, and Lo, Jazolin, Beconzo, Juma, Zomo, Tarana. Canene, Mombadon, Nambarazon, Vara, Saveron, Yen, in la de yang me bara de bi chuni la yang ge ma ge yang rong ga ngo dom bara de no dam dam yen de no go ro ne ga na yen de do nyon de je ne ga na de ba bon ge do da no yon go wa ba do nam ju ro me lo je zi Netsula Dua Me Jen Gorwe Duna Jenje Go Adon Yon De Je Duna Yen Dinje Go Ano Yon Goma Don Da De Mamar Tejun Zen De Zan Dene Madu Be Jado Yen De Ne Ro Je Zo Ne Be Jere Ben De Do No Ana Lo No Zo Mon Den Tendam Nyon De La Gonza Goron De Je Domar De Nyon De Tendam Je Ye Ye Den Goron De Ganja Yen Jong Goron De So So Goba Me La De Me Ben Ponjere Me Be Jere Da Para Den Dene Ken Don Ma Salvara Den Be Zai Zumba Wo De Tarana Don Ni Don Sini Me Ba Don Ma Je Ba Don Manga Ba Don Tuma Don Tuma Tidal Me Ba Don Tuma Me Ba Don Go Me Ba Don Samo Je Je Dal Tena Rong Yen She Zen Don Ba Ni Je Ye De Don Ni In Ba Ni Gong Me Be Ba Yen Ni Ba Lang She Zen Gong Be Zul Ne Ke Ba Zong Ba Do Lo Be On Da Zen Ne Don Ba Bum Ba Lang Ke Ba La Ba Ni Ke Ri Ba Te Da Wen Do Ba Ni La Zu Mi Ji Don Be Ge De Ge Ni Mo Den Don Be Se Ni Yong Do Don Ba Ni Jin Bo De La Ju Jin Lo Bro Je De Ma Zu Jin Je Bum Bo Me Zo Bum Bo De Ge Je Bum Me Du Je Je Bum Bo Me No Ba Ge Bum Me De Jun Zen Ne De Da We Na Ge Ba De Don Ba Ni Kong Me Be Par Do Samo Je Je Rong Gen Je Se Ro Ge Ri Ba De Da Cha Ri Ba Ge Ja Wa Ne Be Ba O Don Ba Ni La Ge Ja We Zen Den 마토빠용 메도 헤베 바라동제라 조르조데 도마 도메서제단다나 돈이제 예제 이르제네 데군조제 주공 데라 군조제 주공 메바라담바 임베겐도 마진바서드제 예바yen 오롱도나 토파남제 다나도니 라즈메 제바마론데 제게도니 마르베저데라 제조소 로송고바 Namdaya Mendela Rondon Bedoni Long Trusen La Zuzongo Nakasingo Brata Jero de Namjeta Zume Bena Domane Do He Dosi Joro de Denguzuni Bajinjela Labana Domani Hete Megeje Jeme taken the Jarden Nawame Name Jeme Ije Jeme Suje Jeme Rame Temero Merizam Chuje Jeme dos Bakolan ke Baralabana Tony Je de la Mega Gome Bani Je Pardo me do Mega Gono Nadon Jedon Ije Conte Toto Zuda Ro Juje Conte Toto Mega no Gena no Geji no Gedujeno Ije number keep on Jabardo me do give a tendelange balabana tombani de la mariba me banegaki. Parto me de maribe and me de gendo jarate and ye and lodon number keep on mizudo jinjedo. Ribadon sorvadon sebadon lembadon sebadon jewagaki and me jen longambe maribe and jen goba me batiginda Duji and Langaba Memadon Kije and Langabadon Mizu J and Langabadon Jiru and Langaba Ribangabadon Sorangabadon Sebangabadon Kilemba Angabadon Sebangabadon Jivangaki Yananga Bardon Medangabadin Yelange Baralabana Tombani Jedendo Pongonji Dendermalib Tijendo Tombani Yela Dungal Jedembadon Jedon Kanjungan Gobe Godin Sarato non Lantena Zoza Medation Bon Yango de Bonlonge Yango de Natonia Londro Jebe Dembaki Jango Ye Tupani Doni Maibala Kibala Bana Tombani Jit Lomji Tibi Kimijing Paranjo Yome Bonam Je Junde Je Nikasu Tobranjo Yome Jumen Le Debu Nega Mado Bayo Medo Tito Jendo Datrazan de Corvesin and Longamba La Jin de Zozo Ye Juja Trubat London de Jujano Nazo Karayan Nelude Ronzo Mandona Dena Yelam Jano Teton Jimmy Tono I am better to some jetus de Taradena Panagambezo Pone Mato Perjutan Jerry Ronsondo Don de Ronye Doni Ye de la Nyambranjo Paradento Oni Mesa Some the Jebadon the JB, some the Gebe to the line. Tentam Ye Yanta Paraneba de Lo Broganzo Jedon Bazon Conan Jumedina Giji Kaji Zorandini Galavara Simbana Mago Yuji Solote Zaratole Ponji some la bene Juni Jensen and Gibanjola Tendel Don Dengia la Benondrola Judo Lanke and Nima Bala Bejuin de Balanke Baranjo Yenos Batito Hen Titavin Sonjo Sambala So Toba Me Bechereki Bataye Sarzi Zumiji Bat Sinje Don Jelani Brazo Toba Mebaden Rajize Jujiz and Jidoron Adomro Koyomata Jeba Yinom John du Paragon So Dinanda Tarazo Nemato Par Koyong Benezala Mataba Tarati Jimbanam Dijimbanam Jegong Badeda Sujisamananga Ye Jeron Ala Jodon Debu Bosa Jedon Jibadin Matabitan Tumoron Sel Hervedine Baja Don Jebayon Yena Dene Majin Horve Dungal Don Lenye Jedrojin Jibayon Yelaman Mibang Some Toba Central West Jello no Anarmbe Bombe and Tarantu Atom Generation and the Putusun Compongant. Senjere Baranjoro Senjelo Lermbra Rimbi Zona Muje Sadon Bobesa Jerimbi and Taratuji and Senjapar Yebalam de Tobende Bang and Joselna Dusum Sode Dusum Dang Pati Don Tatarayu Mohobana Jambaran Georgia Sonje Don Jon Hirajabar Samoje Samon Seni Jedon Debandinatin Kepe Soltuga Gone Alana Mabayon Sonjo Son Jason Badon Son Javaranjoro Tomji Mutin La Juja Dame Bakona Son de Gonzaga Dominati Hujin Jong Gonzo and John Gonzaga Domison Semana Magampatar Sumbana Goye Pumbola Brazil Adame Baragombe Gonzaga Domi Gonzalden Mijiji Beden Jedru Janabajin Gonzaga Domina Jasinam J Gomza Kona Wo Nezalanga Da Gonyomad Gonzaga Domi La Nezalva Nonda Kiza Gonyo Yemanion Juja Domi Bingama Zemenu Dube Juja Domi Gombe Gonzaga Domi Gomba Hula Dropo Ngaba Pendo Jebezunga Dembana Deda Vin Kiraja So De Ambarzo Brason Jeba Deda Vin Rongi Kiraja Bar Nasum Dobe Kijano Jalaring Asum De Jujago Juntumbo Hoti Jewana De Betan Letam Jendo Braje Riba Jimbezunga Yelang Haje Ngo Jidin Tom Jelin De Tibam Sejin numbers Milana Meba Yeje Ringoja number Kawadon de Indebe Le Jeba Tamu Jong Jego Rondanda Minyang Badon Nyamba de Se Yalan Tenda Don Song Je Jong Dobro Jebeng Yendanda Senjin Jendung Alton Jerada Gevar Jebeng Ojo Ino Ju Jego Lua Mi Bechere Zimba Mai Rongkong Minyarwe Topi Na Den Barajo Den Honde Yung Jugo De Moji Bechere Melage Mezimbe Na Den Bara Hibarasade Hibe Den Yan The Yendong Oma Jimbo Sarvar Dembe Tsingaba Yeno Her Zenje Ringon Sonji Tuji Like Yubadi Chugong Udon Denzing Yinjin Loba Nondo Suji Ononjing Odon Yingor No Atene Tendang Umayin Teta Zin Bendebo Toba Lama Love Dembane Yen Venjon Jalavi Sumharing on the double Suji Lamla Lama Yoje Lola Kerwets and Kerwats and Jijon Yondu Yunzoni in Barason so Pen de Don Dembekira Jabaro Papa Jitin Jitin Burning Kibana Tiata Kibana Tati and Gateniki in Dobadon Linijo Kunzu Dobadon Tendam Dobo Para Nenjo de Neludon Gate Doba Yon Para Chot Somne Yon Tabadenga de Doba Boden Sunju de Dembani Nilutin Jamalo Baratobi Sunju Suju de Juyen Don Roje Barajur Kibo Sohale Yazo Heba Den Hojanda Rubajeba Tuba Den Duzul Shirsin Lalo Baradombane Haribo Sonju Semba Semba Jimbo Sudi Haribo Yepun Semba Jimbo Nom Jin Kesolo La Subadita Vigoni Hiraja Parutu Zumba Samon Sinjin Temba Lapara Sao Niba Tunonga Goni Tisam Sarwane Tinijam Dende Sudi Taraki Jitin Jumden Samono Hizaweting and the Telegimbe Sol Dende Sonju Semba Jimbo Papa Jin Rezon to La Leso Hizawa Sente Kien Doroden La Jigeton Sarvadon Zebadon Trodon Humdon Izundon Gadon Teba Dolet Siji Lini Join Hibatara Rabdo Jibi Lexo Rejabu Hejin Reze Labud Chichi Keba Dena Manroa de Kona Yeno Dena de Kona Yen de Juzi Jetaran Papa Jin Reze Jetambadigin Sharipula Soba Terendu Ben Koroche Namje Jon Hiraja Barudu Zumba Samol Lanke Pato La Sobe Goni Jesulo de Traje Prasagude Jinreze Jekebandon Kurien Namje de Don Tabadu De La Tatarajam Dende Kajatu Dogi Yeron Se Paramase Suju de Kibaton Jiji Jiso Yeron Ranze Dogi Dembakajas Bajungol Save Sumba Yeron Bertabanajam Dende Jete Kichi Sot Kornam Harjinreze Jetambandele Hobe Kersin Jeten Kejon Yetam Tisam Don Jebale Jam Dende Je Kalne Suju Sonje Jeten Jon Kersin Jeten De Kona Yen De Ginda Maino Ye Gazalba Don Tuva Seba Haribo Don Lendamba Sonju Basmajima Babajin Onju Tomji Don Dembana Tomji Yabade Yul Tate Badon Reita Badon Roa Tate Bad Zuta de Badon Lonje Tate Badon Geri Tate Balazo Tomji Don Demben Koro de Yeran Hibao Tomji Don Demben Koro de Yezo Don Palbe Jebramuna Namkala Jebe Lat Satina Jebe Medon Sauna Jebe Lama Indo Nisam Na Jeba Tezati 做切瓦耶波的到没本吉林巴本火爆的没把那个英国啦也弄的，今日是这些巴东他们讲的这送巴的啦，一点钱俺把对对起，切人生巴东的种，谁到的啦的人也变成就是的人马上那能火热弄就。ye ma je be ga yin sambara manjula durja yin no don na yari boyon da ge to kapsa ma ba sa nyam ba don jin re se jon da ge len le brahma dan ba yon se nyon da kyun yin to ba don je branjul tembe le sun tinjura ga zal be yari boyon rong ga to le be ga wa don papa yari papa jin re se jon rong ga ten le Leipo Chong Arahi de Chuto Jiba Don Korhin on Ju Chihin Tesam Jebin Guhin Simba Toba Yeno Yondar Dode Samonda Lankolo Parve Doro Toba Yena Yendon Ka Umatemba Mariso Hedo Tētēnā parantāñi lā sabmazā che me paranjuru ke nāvara sepa tāsana deki je je ten kholo sumchira je gomba yon ken ton oma yen ken ton bo ton parvani desen lā salvara ten besai jariba ye to tentam nambar ngi pen kholo len kholo ton parni kale che salgen je parma begen ndo zon jamle para sumba don kholo somlan chumi je chebrayon jam ke gomba je ba yon in be jen de ni me do de wenan do de nguden yen ton tumo wana salwara den jen tumo mai ba deor hi bin himbu da ta den yun ron namba dam je ba de beden je zol je ba yin no her sen himbu do ye tsindel me do juan da yon jakam ba taranatha ne ba o gelem bel 다 keprasa ne la sapale ta kasin ke kas yibaten del ke bala lapate hibarela ta tring aba dembalan ke bala lapare.
So yesterday, among the 6 ways of being skillful, we discussed the 4th of these, training and skill and interdependence. And so today we will be discussing the 5th, training and skill in the truths.
Tene ta tela demba ite ta tambo demba ya sumarela dungal je demba ton kunjung ke demba tang gop demba ton lam je demba te demba namba ya sumar je parela tene te tanda chitang ke ta zo so dunghal je demba ton kunjung ke demba te khorwen seni ta ngop demba ton lam je demba te nyangin de bin seni te dunghal te ndrebu ta kunjung le da nyamo ba te khorwe jo tene ta chetong ke on de senan ndrebu dunghal pong go pa la tene te pong or si pe thap la ju kunjung ke demba pong go pa ta tene nyangin de pe on de sena ndrebu ngop demba thop go yo ara te thoji ji jo lam je demba ti jo la ten go yo ara ya parar sumare.
In the truths, first the discussion is of the 4 truths, the 4 noble truths of the truth of suffering, the truth of origin, the truth of cessation, and the truth of path. And so there are these 4 different truths which are explained. Now, of these 4 different truths, the first 2 truths, the truths of suffering and origin, have the characteristic of being samsara. And the truths of cessation and path have the characteristic of being nirvana. And so in this way, the 2 that are of characteristically samsara, the suffering and origin, are like the result and the cause. So suffering is the result, and its cause, the origin, is the karma and the afflictions. And so in order to get rid of the result, suffering, we want to get rid of the result, suffering, and in order to get rid of it, we need to first abandon the cause, the origin. Likewise, we want to attain the result, cessation. And in order to attain the result, cessation, we need to rely upon its cause, the path.
Tene ta tela chitang ke ta tsik on de jena demba ye ne tang de ji re la tene kasing ke kapsala ya hu pa re den yi number te ta tanda chitang ke ngaran su hi gu pa ji re de yina ya ngaran su nyom selem be kapsu tene demba ye gombe mengo te nyom seleng ge yo mare ta ngaran su cherdo tipa chimbuga on de sena chuni je den gom ne nyam selem batang Teni songho doji tipe on to se na jezo ni ge mengo de gom ne nyam so lenge yo re se kasen huba re la teni tanda terenya de tar do yimbe cherna temba yede ne ka misal ge ta jeba kan ya huge.
And so, of the four truths, there are these four truths, and the way they are is something that, of course, we need to know and something that we need to understand. However, it is in the Great Vehicle not something that we practice, as Rinpoche explained yesterday. When we practice, we do not really do the meditation practice upon the Four Noble Truths. Rather, in the Great Vehicle tradition, we meditate upon the profound Dharma nature, the Dharmata. And in the Secret Mantra Vajrayana tradition, we meditate primarily upon the instructions of the creation and completion phases. And so this is more or less as Rinpoche described yesterday. And so for that reason, there is not any particular need to go into the four truths in detail at this point.
Tene ta tejendo tupa ne maimba temba ne maimba lan kepa temba la tene teya tanda yihi me topa me matopa yung me to sungare la tene ta te tanda yihi me sunga de kanti jiri se na ta tanda jitang ta gondir kongrang on de se de tanda uma yentong tembe ta kap yimbe cher na cherdo tene uma yentong ka tawala yihi ye parsunga de ya tene koa chepar jentong nyua chepar chenche gogi yoare mato yihe te ye sena dendruk nambala kodruk yoare la dendruk nambala koso na tini te yana sensambe kunji nambar hiba tabu main la dewar hibi nimbo si ta na ya yihe te ngupo yimbala ke lang na yana sensambe kunji number hiba kelen batabu je ta rogi yoare mato ngunige dewar hibi nimbolan rogi yo mare je nibaga on de sena yihite ye takpayin sena tene tan kepa yento ke uma yento ke tawate moti tronjin bin de da hiri ki jibu de tikpare se talwan penge yoare la tene de tabu ke jante tene tanda uma yentong pe tawa yang tapa ji ke malana tini tege talwa de gakwa de nyugi wara tini junsin teacher na tini te yehi de ta te tsik on de se na zong de ta ka paru de chimba se ta ju la men on jong ten yo are de yin ya ngo rang yin ji tomba de war hi bi nim bi ngo de rang yin ji tomba yi ba kha ji.
And so here in the sutra it says, so that is the fifth. And so the sixth point here in the training on the path transcendent knowing is the training and skill in what is possible and what is impossible. And so here in the sutra, the words of the sutra are, there is no wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. And so here what it is saying is that in the correct and true essence of the way things are, there is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Now here, this commentary by the Venerable Taranatha is generally from the other empty point of view. And in the other empty commentary, we generally hold the position that there is a wisdom that exists, that there is a wisdom. And so that in the absolute nature of the way things are, there is a wisdom. But here, and that is generally the view held in this other empty commentary. But here it says that there is no wisdom. And so why is it that it says that there is no wisdom? The reason is that there is a danger if you hold if you just say that wisdom exists. If you say that wisdom exists, there are two different sorts of dangers that you can get into. One of these dangers is that you might, if you do not fully understand what the nature of this wisdom is, you might think that it is the same thing as the truly existing all-ground consciousness that the mind-only, or Chittamatra, the mind-only school posits. And so there's this danger that you might just give a different name. You might call it Buddha nature, but actually in reality what you're talking about is the same thing as the truly existing all-ground consciousness that the mind-only school posits. And so that's one danger. The second danger is that you might, if you think that it has some true sort of existence, you might fall into the trap of saying that it is just like the, I'm going to try to, what the Samkhya school, the non-Buddhist Samkhya school calls the self that is the being that knows and is aware. So the self that is the being that knows and is aware. And so there's a danger that you might think that all of the and so for that reason, if you think of it in that way, all of the faults that other scholars have found in the Samkhya, in the non-Buddhist Samkhya tradition, also will apply to this to the actual wisdom, if you do not understand it correctly and understand it as it is. And so actually, how is it that we need to understand this wisdom? The way we need to understand this wisdom is that it is something that, although it exists in some sense, its essence is not proven to be anything. Its essence is emptiness. And so this is the sort of emptiness that we mean that is not proven to be anything, that is not established as truly existent in its essence.
Tene ta te tardo yihi yemi ge tsik te nam la tsik ge ji sun ju pa ma yin pa. Ta ten ji ne lu ngo la ripi ta hin ta tu sam pa ta bu ji yin na ripi ta hin je pa ta. Tene gambi nyam su nyong kap su la ya ta tanda je ngaran so tingen ze gam nyamnyong cheparachin chi nyamnyong cheparachin chi pe kapso tene ta rang pangbo te rang che ne tene ngarang nyamnyong la kandido ngarang nyamnyong te la ngunzing ki chen endo ngarang nyamnyong te la tongzing ki chen endo te tene yakpo che tene hi gupa tene ta tanda jitang tene tanda perna uma Rangtong da Shentong hi pe kapsula ripi che pe ngi hi ge go ne hi ge yo re la chaja chembo ta zopa chembo gam pe kapsula te rang gambe nyamnyong ge tene nyong ge yo re la te ni gomba te tu pamne o ta ngarang nyamnyong te yapu imbada perna hira nimbu noni an tinde song duga yana ngarang nyamnyong te te nor yo panda hira nimbu ndo gomba ta te tingmendo sambata ge tene te tu sam ta tene gambe nyamnyong ni de nyamda pelia te ta pento chembo ta goba chembo re.
And so when we look at what the words of the actual sutra are, we need to look at them with our own intelligence, with our own consideration and our own examination of them. We need to come to understand them for ourselves. We need to have experience, understanding and experience of them for ourselves. And so when we listen to them and study them, we need to consider and analyze them from our own perspective and see what our own understanding is. We should not accept them blindly, but we need to accept them as they are. And likewise, we also, when we do meditation, we need to develop what our own experience is. We need to follow our own experience. And so here we need to, when we are meditating, we need to make our own experience into the witness that we follow. And so we need to see what it is that we're experiencing and look honestly at what our experience is and use it as a witness. And so when we are doing our meditation, at that point we need to look at it honestly and see, does our understanding fall too much to the idea of holding on to things as it exists, holding on to things as existent? Or does it fall too much to the aspect of emptiness? And so for that reason, we need to be very careful, and we need to analyze things and analyze and examine carefully with our logic. We need to analyze carefully with following the logics of the self-empty and the other empty schools. And then we need to follow the instructions on the creation and completion phases and meditate upon it. And in meditating upon it, then we need to have both of these things. We need to both have a clear understanding from analysis and also the clear experience from meditation. And then when we have this experience from meditation, we need to look at the experience of meditation, and maybe we'll look at it and say, oh, my experience is pretty good. This is what it says in the Heart Sutra, and this is what I'm experiencing. Or you might say to yourself, oh, maybe my experience isn't so good. And it says this in the Heart Sutra, and it doesn't quite accord with my experience. So maybe that isn't so good. And then you need to keep meditating in this way. But at any rate, we need to develop our own experience and our own certainty over the meaning of what this wisdom is.
Sundi neda ne maimpa la kepe ke kordi sundu topayang me matupayang me to sumarela teni ta tela chuni tendam je dembe nelu go on de jena teni ta tanda yentin sardu topayang me la yentin matupayang kanya yo mare teni te tenju jitla me nani sona Della sarja cheung me, yopar chawa chungzi me, chuni devarahi be nimbu ngo de la pa chenji cha pangu pa kanya yo mare la, yentin chi cha sardu yogu ya kanya yo mare. Yong ta pa ni re, ta ti ge devarahi be nimbu ngo de yang ta pa ni re la. Yang tapa te ni la yang tapa ta si yang tapa te yang tapa ne tang te la manurwa yang tapa te na te ge chuni je dembe ne lu te tong tapa yung re so.
Following this, in the discussion of what is possible and impossible, it says there is no attainment and there is no non-attainment. And so what this means is that within the truth of the Dharma nature, in the way that it is, there are no new qualities that need to be attained. And in the truth of the Dharma nature as it is, there are no qualities that have not been attained. They are not there. This is as it says in the King of all the treatises. In this there is nothing to add, nor anything at all to dispel. And so here, in the Dharma nature as it is, there is no new quality, no part of qualities that we need to add to the Dharma nature itself. Nor is there any nor is there any faulty part that we need to get rid of and dispel. So by viewing correctness correctly, So by viewing the correctness, this the way the Dharma nature is itself is correctness. And so if we see that correctly, if we view it in the right way correctly, then there are no qualities to add. There is nothing to be dispelled from that. And so in this way, we need to look at the correctness of the Dharma nature correctly.
Tene ta te jeso ta ti tanda tan keprasa ne tugu go ni tene lam khira je paru tu tsambate tembarela ta te jeso te tar to pe tembare ta ti ge ye khira je paru tu tsambate lam khira je paru tu tsambate ne te tar ta te te ne ta ngaran so ge tu som je go ne tena pap gambe nyam salembe go ne tena papa she na tini drebu pen kande yungi ye pate sonarela tene ta te ya sharipu deta wena se ta te tardu yimbi junsen la tene shonju semba nam la topa me bichar se shonju semba nam la topa me bichar se ta ti ge undu la ta topa me bichar hibati tamesalzi re sungi ware tani ya pega pare karire se na toni tembe kasla ta shonju semba na zo me chorwa me duhi me duji no me number hiba me me nawa me ta te yendo tangbo phumbo nga madrupata tene te jesu jinchi juni madrupata te jesu tene kom jobji madrupata te jesu tender juni madrupata te jesu damba ya madrupata te jesu neda nemain pali topa me bichar topa me la matupa yung me bichar hibate ta duni ta ti chasa ranghinji madrupa yimba te yang ta khasin shuba yendo tomba ni la se ta kanga la dandan thai ondu se na tomba ni la topa me tomba ni la matupa yung me to se ta tomba ni de rangjung gi yihi ta yer me pa yimba tene ta te tabuji topa yimbe chir song.
And so this completes the discussion of path transcendent full knowing. Following the discussion of path transcendent full knowing is the discussion of the benefits of realizing it, the benefits of realizing transcendent full knowing. And so here we have been taught about ground transcendent full knowing, and we've been taught about path transcendent full knowing. And so after we study these through listening and contemplating, and after we meditate upon them, what are the benefits that we realize from realizing it? So what are the benefits that we realize from realizing this transcendent full knowing? And so here it reads in the sutra, Shariputra, therefore, Shariputra, for these reasons. Therefore, because the bodhisattvas have no attainment. And so here it's saying, because the bodhisattvas have no attainment. And this word, no attainment here, is indicating the end of a long list. And so this is a word that is clarifying that that is the end of the list. And this is actually including everything that has come up to this point in this list, everything from the there is no form up to no attainment. And so here it has said that in emptiness there is no form. So there is no form, no feeling, no consciousness, no form, no feeling, no conception, no formation, no consciousness, no I, no form, no sound, etc., 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 through all of the 5 aggregates, through the 12 sense bases, through the elements, through the links of interdependence, through the 4 truths, and through the possible or the possible and the impossible, including attainment and non-attainment, or no attainment, all the way up to here. So in emptiness, in the correct wisdom of emptiness, there is no attainment and there is no non-attainment. And so here this is saying that in all of these, that for this reason, because in the actual self-arisen wisdom of the way things are that is unified with emptiness, there is no attainment and neither is there no non-attainment.
Tene teya ta tanda ngaranso tanda perna sashakana yore se na hiraji paru tu tsimbangal yore hiraji paru tu tsimbe nelu kutayla yore nelu tela njurwa yo mare la nelu te gomna toju yo pacheta ripete la pana hiju yo pache teacher na hiraji paru tu tsimba samo ndala tenji nete tan di ngando yore ngaranso ge nelu te tardo yore ngaranso ge senji nelu te tardo yore la tenji nete ta tingala ne yobate pemesibe kalwa sangpo ta ngaranso tu jondo che tene nyemo bando somne de la tribayeba tene jitin korwandala dungalta matapata njurwata gahela sope jikta yorela te tendam je onde sena jikta che gu yo mare dungal nyong gu yo mare dripi drip gu yo mare junsen khare sena dripa tenzo nyemo be dripa inna yanda hiji dripa inna yanda ranghinji matu batomba ni re te la tene te yendo dungal thonchi dungal nyong yore la nekap dungal nyong yore di ina ti dungal di nyong yo marela dungal ti ngo di juma dong molam ta ngo rang yin ji tombare ngo rang yin ji tomba imba la tomba imbre hiya yore teacher na dripa meje takwa me to telan ji to khaya che go yo mare ji to meche ve thabla khare go gre se na hiraji paru tu tsimbe tan tela som hiraji paru tu tsimbe tan te gam hiraji paru tu tsimbe tan te nyamsu nyona tini deji pusum chopa dungalta chenje tmayum me ba ta te ta thogre.
And so where is it that we are? We are within transcendent full knowing. We are within the prajna paramita. We are within transcendent full knowing. That is where we are abiding. It is what we are close to. So we are close and abide in the transfullness, or you can also say abide in reliance upon transcendent full knowing. We are within that nature of the way things are, the transcendent full knowing. And within that nature, there is something that we can realize. There is something that through study and practice we can come to understand. There is something that by practicing meditation we can come to realize. And so when we come, and that we can come to realize is the nature of the way, that which we can come to understand and realize is the nature of how the transcendent full knowing is, what the nature of it is like, how it is how it is the union of wisdom and emptiness, in which there is no obscuration or fear or anything. Now, in our normal appearances, it appears that there is obscuration. It appears that there are things to fear. There is suffering. There is death. And there is the suffering of change and the suffering of death. And this is how it appears to us relatively. But however, this is something that actually we do not need to fear. And the reason is that in the nature of how things are, there is no obscuration of the mind. There is no reason to be afraid. There is no suffering of this. And so this is something that we can come to know. It is something that we can come to understand and we can meditate upon and come to realize. And so here, this is what we want to try to come to know and to realize. Now, can we just at temporarily we are unable to just immediately get rid of our fear and just immediately get rid of our suffering. We cannot do that just immediately like that. However, if we study, if we listen and contemplate, and if we meditate, then we can come to realize that there is no reason to fear, and there is no reason for suffering. And the reason for that is that we can come to realize that within the nature of transcendent full knowing, there is nothing to fear nor anything to suffer from.
Tene tsenji lo le hindan dene nyangin debe tarchinto sungarela. Tsenji lo le hindan dene sundu ta tela tanda yongtangji ga on de na. Tene ta nyong ko topa cheparji jilla ji because chuni dewarhi bi nimbu nelu de zipana tompong ke nyemon papang. Tene tela gombi nyong su nyong ka so gompong ke nyemon papang. Tene tartu doji ta viting en tuji la ji because nyemon pa zawa tmata je patang je pon ne senjelo le hindende. Tene nyangelen de tarsun to ta tartu kunde bo zobu sunji jamden de gompong togre hiraje paru de sambandalatin tane tartu nyangelen de debu togre korbe dungalji nebayung ko mare nyemon bige nebayung ko mare tartu kunde bo zobu sunji jamden de gompong togre tene zobu sunji jamden de gompong topatea tene je ta jeong mebanda bo maiba rangtong pusum sobatong yenden pusum sobatong je nyune dabo jene tartsingre songate ta hiraji paru tsimba nelu to pen dabo songin.
And so through this, the bodhisattvas completely transcend the mistaken and reach the ultimate nirvana. And so the mistaken here, through the transcendent full knowing, by studying and listening and reflecting upon it, meditating upon it, the bodhisattvas will see the Dharma nature as it is. And through seeing that as it is, they will discard the stains that are abandoned when you see the truth of the Dharma nature. And then they will progress through the stages, the paths of meditation, and discard the stains that are abandoned through meditation, and then eventually come to the Vajra-like samadhi, and then attain the ultimate result. And so by seeing the nature of this, by relying on transcendent full knowing and meditating upon transcendent full knowing, then they will transcend all of the mistakes, everything that's erroneous about samsara, everything that causes all the suffering. There is no need to, they will see that there is no need to experience suffering. There is no need to have any fear. There is no need to be bound by samsara. And so then they will attain the ultimate result of Buddhahood. And in attaining this ultimate result of Buddhahood, they will realize that this ultimate result of Buddhahood itself, this realization of the transcendent full knowing, is not nothingness, but rather it is something that has qualities. It has the qualities of the excellent benefit for oneself, and it has the qualities of the excellent benefit for others. And so for this reason, this is the teaching on the benefits of the paths of realizing transcendent full knowing. And so we will leave it here for this morning, and now we will recite the dedications and aspirations.
Oh.